Hi everyone, and welcome to the Knit California podcast. My name is Leslie. I'm a knitter, crocheter, spinner, pattern designer, and yarn enthusiast in Southern California, and this is my weekly podcast episode where I talk to you about all of my knitting updates. Today I have maybe 5 updates to talk to you about, since I haven't actually done a podcast in about a month, as I've been doing Vlogmas for the last couple of weeks. So grab a cozy beverage, grab something to work on, and let's get into it. Come, get up here. Come. Okay. Like I mentioned, I haven't done a weekly podcast in a few weeks, so I'm a little bit rusty. But I've got a lot of projects to update you on. You can see behind me one of my yarn advents. I figured we'd just leave it up for a little bit of decoration this week. I've got 2 dogs on my lap. I'm trying to get them to lay down, and Buddy's over there trying to get him to lay down too. So I've got 2 finished objects. We'll start with that. One of them I'm wearing. I finished both of these literally in the last couple days. Today is Monday, December 30th, so I realized in the last couple days, it's the end of the year, gotta finish up a couple of my WIPs to get a couple more FOs done by the end of the year. I'm definitely not finishing all of my projects by December 31st. I will be bringing some WIPs into the new year. I will be talking about those in a different video. So, I mean, some of them you'll see in today's video, like the WIPs that I talk about, you'll see those. But there are more that I will not be talking about in today's video that will be carried into the new year. But I realized I had a couple, this sweater that I've been working on for a long time, that my plan was always to get done before the end of the year. And then another project that was very close to being done, and I thought might as well just get it done before the end of the year. So let's get into it, and let's start first with what I'm wearing, and this is my California sweater. So this is the 3rd California sweater that I have knit. This is a pattern by me, Knit California, and I actually knit this one in 2 yarns. So the first one is a Boucle yarn. Both are by Superglo fibers. So it's a Silky Boucle in a one-of-a-kind colorway, and it's held with a Suri yarn in the colorway Mermaid Caves. And it's just this really light, airy, gorgeous, soft, fun, colorful fabric. I'm really happy with how this has turned out. A couple modifications that I made to the pattern in general. The first one you can kind of see here is the neckline. In the pattern, the neckline is a 1x1 rib folded over collar, so it's like double thick. I picked up the stitches for the neckline, did not do any 1x1 rib, just did stockinette. I did 2 sets of decreases, so I knit 7 rows, and then I did 2 decreases at the back of the neck, so 1 here and 1 here. And then I knit 7 more rows and did it again, so 14 rows total. And then I did a very loose bind off, and just a regular bind off, nothing special here. And this created like a funnel neck is what I'm calling it. It kind of rolls over a little bit. If I give it a little roll, it might stay, but I really like it just like up all the way. I think it looks really good. And yeah, I'm really happy with the neckline and the way that turned out. And then for all, oh, I got a fuzz. For all of the edges, the sleeve and the body hem, I did I-cord bind off instead of the 1x1 rib and tubular bind off that's written in the pattern. I just felt with this Boucle yarn, the I-cord bind off was going to look better. I felt like you wouldn't really be able to see the 1x1 rib with how thick this yarn was, and I just felt like this would kind of give it like a very polished look. The boucle would just kind of like end, and like that would be it, and that's how I wanted it to look. So overall, I'm really happy with it. This is like my cotton candy sweater. It's like Taylor Swift Lover era. The sleeves, I did do decreases on the sleeves, but they have ended up very like wide and oversized, and the body is very oversized as well. I did go up a size overall from what I would typically knit. For me, typically I would knit a size extra large, so I knit the size 2XL, so it's very oversized on me, and I just really like it. I'm really happy with it. Those were the only, I was gonna say, those were the only pattern modifications that I made. I think, especially the collar gives it just a very different look to what the original pattern like vibe is. So yeah, in terms of like doing this funnel neck with like a merino fingering weight plus Suri yarn held together, the recommended yarn in the pattern, I don't know if that is necessarily a good idea. I feel like the weight of that might be too much for the funnel neck to like stand up and stay a funnel, if that makes sense. I feel like it would want to roll over a lot and like fall. So I haven't tested it out, obviously. I've only done it with this yarn. I have done a funnel neck with an alpaca yarn, 100% alpaca sport weight. It does roll over a little bit more than this, but that is also a relatively lightweight yarn. Did I say larn? Yarn? I don't know. So I had someone ask me on Instagram if I could like add this mod into the pattern, and as of now I'm not going to do that because I haven't tested it out in the recommended yarn. And right now I don't have any plans to do that, so that's where I'm at with it. This Boucle yarn is like super lightweight. Like this is like, I don't know. It's really hard to show you how lightweight this is without you like actually being here and feeling it. So that's why it just like stands up on its own. So, all right. That's my latest and greatest California sweater. If you have any other questions about it, leave them in the comments down below and I can answer those for you. I think I've talked about everything there is to talk about the California sweater. We've talked about it so much already. So, all right, let's move on and I'll talk to you about my second finished object, the Glenties Cowl. Here it is. This is my Glenties Cowl, otherwise known as the Mobius Cowl. I casted this on in Ireland. This was one of the projects that we casted on during our workshops. This was one of the workshops that we had. This was the workshop that we had with Lisa Sisk from the This Is Knit yarn shop in Dublin, Ireland. And you may think like, oh, you know, a Mobius cowl or like, you know, an infinity cowl, it's got a little twist in it. You know, you just cast that on and then when you bind it off, you twist it and then you graft it together. That is not how you cast this on. That is not how you construct this cowl. You cast this on with the twist already in it. It is a Mobius cast on, so you are knitting this in the Mobius shape. It is a very, very cool and very, very interesting knit. If you're like a math nerd like me, you like, you know, this Mobius shape, mathematical shapes in general, you should really check out this pattern. You should check out the tutorial. I think there's a video on YouTube on how to do this Mobius cast on. Actually, I know there is, because my mom really, really liked this, and I sent her the video and she was able to figure it out, and she has knit one of these. And if my mom can figure it out, she's a brand new knitter, I know you can figure it out as well. So, and she did great. Hers turned out amazing. So let me show you what this looks like. I have blocked this. I don't know, I feel like mine's a little bit big. You want it to sit, I don't know, it looks good. I did the picot bind off, so it's got little picots on the edges. But there we go. Doesn't it look so cute? It's got the little twist right here on the neck. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna show you the yarn that I used for this. The yarn that I used is the Studio Donegal, the soft Donegal. So it's a 100% merino wool spun by Donegal Yarns in Kilcar, County Donegal, Ireland. So it's an Irish wool, and I've got this lovely pink tweedy color with all the flecks in it. So I love it. And yeah, casted this on October 8th. Worked on it a bunch in the workshop. Worked on it a little bit while we were in Ireland, but then I was really focusing on knitting my alchemy pullover when I was in Ireland because I really wanted to get it done, and I did get it done while we were there, and that was really exciting. So this really got put on the back burner. I worked on it like on and off since October, since I've been home. I just felt like every time I worked on it, and like every time I measured it, you know, there's a certain length that you want to get this to before you start the bind off. I felt like every time I measured it, it was getting smaller. Like it was never getting bigger, and I was like, when is it gonna end? And finally I was like, you know what, I just need to sit down. We'll just add, you know, 5, 6, 8 more rounds to it, and then we'll decide that it's good and we'll do the bind off. And this was my first time ever doing a picot bind off, so I watched a video on how to do this, and it was really cool. It was really fun. Something different than like an I-cord bind off, so I enjoyed that. A new skill unlocked. Oh, I gotta write that down in my skills learned in my journal. Yeah, and now it's done. So this is my last FO of the year. I'm not gonna finish any other project. There it is. Yeah, would highly recommend this project if you're looking for something interesting and new. So, alrighty, let's move on to my whips. And the first one that I want to update you on is my Sweet Shop blanket. If you did not watch Vlogmas, it's okay. Don't hold it against you. It was a weird Vlogmas this year. To give you the gist of it, the first week went really, really well, and then we had some ups and downs in the last couple of weeks. I only did 13 Vlogmas episodes, but I ended up pulling out my Sweet Shop blanket a couple days into Vlogmas, because the project that I really wanted to work on with the Ruby and Roses Advent, I realized a couple days in that it wasn't really the vision that I had for this advent, and so I decided just to put it on pause, frog it, and I was going to come back to this advent at a later time. And I figured we would come back to the Sweet Shop blanket and make some progress on this. Oh, I have another finished object to talk to you about. We'll do that after this. The goal for Advent was to finish this blanket. I did have enough days in the month to do so, but in the last week of Vlogmas, like the third week of December, I panic casted on a gift knit, the only gift knit that I knit this holiday season for my best friend Sarah, and I'll show you that after we talk about the blanket. But so because I was working on that, I ended up not finishing the Sweet Shop blanket. So I do have, I think, 8 squares left to finish. It is in my goals for January to get this finished, okay? But I did make a lot of progress. Like, we did a lot of squares during Vlogmas. So this is gonna be really difficult to show you. We'll just we'll do a little shimmy, okay? So a lot of this, okay, yeah, a lot of this was already done. And then a good chunk of it was done during Vlogmas, but we'll just give you the update, okay? You see the bottom yet? Okay, hold on, I need to do one more. Okay, so I think you saw all of it. I'm not sure. I need to get a good shot of it laying on the bed, but when it's finished, when we get those last 8 squares done, you'll see the whole thing, I promise. But I wanted to give you the update that we're getting close. We're getting really, really close. And like I said, I do want to dedicate some time in January to getting this done. 8 squares, I could get that done in a week. Like, if this is all I focus on for a week, I can get this done in a week. I'm just saying. I just have to do it. You know? I just have to do it. So, okay. Let me talk to you about the project that I panic knitted after the Sweet Shop blanket. Okay, so I panic knitted the PDX Carpet Doodle Cowl. I picked up this kit in March at the Rose City Yarn Crawl at Starlight Knitting Society Yarn Shop. They had the Doodle Cowl kits, and I picked it up with the intention of knitting this for my friend Sarah. And I originally thought oh, this would be a great Christmas present, blah blah blah. And then as it was getting closer to Christmas, I was like, oh, you know, I really don't want to do any gift knits this year. I think it's just gonna be too much. So that was my plan. And then as it was getting closer and closer to Christmas, I was like, oh, I'm seeing Sarah on the 26th and I don't have a gift. And then I was like, I have this cowl kit and I know I could knit this up in a week. And then I was like, that's what we're doing. So I did get it done. I did talk about this on the very last Vlogmas episode, but just as like a recap, you know, if you didn't watch that episode, it is a colorwork cowl, but my colorwork skills are not fully up to par with where I would like them to be, especially for a gift knit. So the way that I decided to knit this was to just knit the whole thing solid stockinette, so all the green, and then I duplicate stitched the entire colorwork pattern, which is what took the longest. It was a lot of duplicate stitch. So this was the colorwork motif. I duplicate stitched all of that, and I had to do that 12 times. It was like 6 around the bottom and then 6 around the top. It was 2 layers offset, and it turned out so cute, and she loved it. She is like one of the most knit-worthy people that I have in my life. I know that if I gift her anything that I knit, she's going to love it. She's gonna wear it. She lives in Montana, so like she lives in the snow and the cold many more months out of the year than I do. So yeah, I gifted it to her. She loved it. So I knew it was gonna be worth it. So it all went well. So that was what I panic knitted and what I put the Sweet Shop blanket on pause for, and I got it done, and it was all good. So okay, that's the cowl. Let's move on and talk about my next WIP, my Semper Slipover. Okay, I have made a teensy bit of progress on my Semper Slipover since the last podcast episode. I think this is where I was on the last podcast episode, and then this is where I was maybe after week 1 of Vlogmas. I think that's where I put this marker in. I was like, let me put in my Christmas marker after each week of Vlogmas so I can keep track. And I put in 1 week and then didn't work on this at all because I was working on my blanket and then didn't work on anything. So yeah, made a bit of progress. I mentioned in the last Vlogmas episode that I was thinking about frogging this, and I have to say that I've changed my mind. I will not be frogging this. I will be continuing on with this. I tried this on last night and it's looking pretty good. I'm at a spot where, I mean, I really just need to like keep going with the body, and I want to actually put the body on hold and do the neckline and the armholes. I think if I can do that, that will like give me a better sense of how this is going to turn out and just like make me feel like I've got way more progress on this, and then I can just stockinette knit the body and it'll be done relatively quickly. My hesitation with finishing this was coming from a place of wanting to knit the new Avenue vest by Tori Yu, the v-neck version, and wanting that in my closet. I did look at that this morning, I think, and realized it's worsted weight, which surprised me. I thought it was DK weight. So I gotta look in my yarn stash. I don't have a ton of worsted weight sweater quantities or like vest quantities. I have a ton of fingering weight and some DK. I do know I have one worsted weight because I just frogged a sweater. I had the Eclair raglan on my needles. I've had that on my needles for like over 2 years now, because I casted that on thinking that I was gonna knit it for the first Irish knitting tour that I went on in 2023, and I literally just frogged that yesterday or the day before, and that was worsted weight. So I do have that sweater quantity. It's very similar to this color though, it's like pink. So I'm gonna have to see if I have anything else in worsted weight that is enough yardage, or I guess I could do like DK plus a fluff, or like 2 fingering plus a fluff. I don't know, that feels like a lot. Anyways, I gotta figure that out. But I realized like I can finish this and have that. And at some point I want to design the alchemy, like an alchemy slipover, alchemy vest. And I figured I should finish this, like, and I should knit a v-neck slipover, because I've never like knit a slipover or like worn slipovers that I've knitted, and I should knit these before I design one, like for research and to like understand how they fit and to like know what I like in terms of fit and wear and knitting and all of that. So I'm gonna keep going. So yeah, that's where we're at. I would say maybe getting close to halfway. But yeah, I think I'm gonna cut the yarn here and do the neck next. So, because I just started these balls relatively recently, so, and I'm at the underarm, so I can cut it and do the neck and the arms and then join it back in, no problem. And yes, I do have like enough yarn balls to just use a new ball of yarn, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, I have one more project that I would like to talk about, and it's my book club cardigan. This is my book club cardigan. The pattern is by Sari Nordlund. Let's see. Can you see that progress? So the back panel is complete and the front right panel is complete. I think this little guy is where I was on the last podcast. And then this is where I was on the first week of Vlogmas. I don't know. My markers are confusing me. I guess I need to move all of the markers now that we've done this podcast. I will do that after this episode, after I wrap everything up. So when we head into the new year, all the markers will be updated. Maybe I'll put new markers on everything, so we have a refresh of everything. But I have picked up the left front panel, so that's good. And I do at some point need to go back and add a few rows to the back panel so that it ends on the same row as the front panels, because I ended up doing more rows on the front panel than where I ended the back panel. So that's okay. Basically the instructions like confused me, and I needed to keep going on the front panel to get all of my increases here for the front. You can't see it. To get all of my increases here for the front, but then you also need to make sure you're ending so that you're ending on a cable row that is the same on the front as the back, so that when you join in the round, you're on the same cable round, right? That makes sense. But it didn't work out, so. But that's fine, right? So these stitches are already on hold. I can just pick all this back up and keep knitting until I'm at the same row as here. And I'll knit this side first and end at the same row as here, and then I'll do the back. And then we'll join everything. And then we'll keep knitting the body. So, yeah, just the same thing that I've said about this knit. I'm feeling the same way about this knit as what I have said over and over again. It's just slow going. And at this point, it's been a couple weeks since I have worked on this, but I do still feel like I have the chart pretty much memorized. So that's good. I do think I could get back into this fairly easily. I had mentioned in one of my latest Vlogmas episodes that I want to like get this to be like in my #1 WIP spot. But I'm almost feeling like it can't be there yet because the blanket and my Semper Slipover are just so much closer to being done that I need to focus on those first before I can put this in the #1 WIP spot. Although, like, if this was in the #1 WIP spot, I would need like a stockinette project on the side, and like the Semper could be that until it's done, because after I finish the neck and the arms, right, it's just stockinette. So maybe we do that. Maybe I finish the blanket and then we do that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I have a little bit of time to think about it. So that's where we're at with the book club cardigan. Still loving it. I don't have any feelings about, you know, putting it on pause, putting it into hibernation or anything like that. So that's good at least. All right, that is the WIP update. That's all the updates on my projects. So since this is the last podcast of the year, let's just take a second and bask in it. What episode number is this? Let's see. Oh my gosh, too many vlogmases here. Episode 30, no, 37. Episode 38. This is episode 38. So we've done 38 podcast episodes this year. That's a nice even number. We've done a lot of other episodes besides podcast episodes. When I do my year, everything I knit, year in review video, I'll have a stats section and we'll talk about how many videos I've done in total. So that'll be good. But yeah, that's exciting. Thank you guys for being here. If you've been here since the beginning of the year, 2024 series, episode 1. I'm going to start the new year, 2025 series, episode 1. Coming up, you can look forward to my end of the year recap. Like I just mentioned, everything I knit in 2024 is kind of going to be my year in review. All my stats, I made a little note about what I want to include in that video. Rapid fire, all my knits, stats, did I meet my goals, completing my make 9, looking at my knitters bingo, that'll all be in my year in review. And then I'm going to do a separate video on did I wear my knits in 2024, similar to the one that I did last year. And then we'll do in the new year my 2025 Make 9, and I'm hoping to do a 2025 knitting plans and goals. So I'm really excited about starting a new year. I think it's always like an exciting time. I've been spending this week between Christmas and New Year's just like cleaning up the craft room. I reorganized my yarn shelves a little bit. There wasn't a ton of like organizing that I needed to do. I just needed to like put some stuff away, and I needed to reconcile, yeah, my yarn stash spreadsheet, because I hadn't logged like any yarn in there since October, November, December. That took way less time than I thought it would, by the way, so that's good. And I've been cleaning up my closet, so maybe I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek as to what it looks like in there now. It's looking really good. So alright, I think that's it for this last episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you. If you're not subscribed, please click subscribe so that you don't miss out on everything coming in 2025, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!